Good evening. Great to have you here. I'm Laura Painter.
And I'm Chris Thomas. We do thank you for joining us at 5:30 on the ABC10 app. We want to start tonight with some breaking news. Sacramento police say a shooting involving officers is now under investigation following a bank robbery.
Yes, this is all happening near busy shopping centers not far from the Arden Fair Mall.
ABC10's Garshpal Sangha is there live now. I know, Garshpal, you were just getting to the scene. If you can, bring us up to speed about what you know so far.
Yeah, Chris and Laura, we got here about 5 minutes ago. So the one thing that has been confirmed is that this was an officer-involved shooting. We were told there was an individual or individuals that were robbing a bank, and that's what prompted police to come out here. Let me just kind of step out of the way. What you're taking a look at, there's a large perimeter that has been fenced off here with the tape. What you're taking a look right there, that is challenge and response way right there. They have that street blocked off. Hobby Lobby's over here. As we start panning to the right here, you can just kind of see just how big of a perimeter they have taped off here. And then way down there, that is where police have been really doing a lot of their activity. We don't know those white cars that are in there, how they may be related, but that is where a lot of the police response has been. And right now, we're still waiting to get more updates from the Sacramento Police Department. But the Sacramento Police Department did confirm that an officer-involved shooting happened while responding to a bank robbery at the 1600 block of Response Road. All officers are physically okay, and they're asking people to avoid the area. So right now, Challenge Road is closed off. Exposition Boulevard is closed off. And there's a lot of banks in this area. We don't know specific one where this happened, but we'll continue to get that information and pass along as we do get it. But this is kind of where things remain at this time. Reporting live near Cal Expo, Garshpal Sangha, ABC10.
Yeah, definitely avoid this area as the situation unfolds. This is a developing situation. Garshpal, keep us posted as you learn more. We will talk with you again for another update tonight at 6. Thank you.
But we do have some more breaking news tonight, this time in Washington, as lawmakers avoid a government shutdown, at least for now. Tonight, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says funding for the Department of Homeland Security is now being separated from an overall spending package.
The Democrats have been calling for new reforms to Homeland Security as it increases immigration enforcement operations. It's unclear right now when the Senate will vote on this new funding deal. We will bring you updates on air and online as the situation develops.
But this all comes as Congressman Josh Harder visited the ICE location in Stockton for the first time just today.
ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has the details tonight.
After a visit that lasted an hour, Congressman Josh Harder walked out of Stockton's ICE field office Thursday with a frown.
I'm incredibly frustrated because I walked away from this investigation with more questions than answers.
Harder says his team's oversight visit happened on the first floor, where enforcement and removal operations are based, and where he says he saw
tough, abhorrent conditions. And the fact that you're holding somebody in a cell this long with nothing except a toilet for 72 hours or more is a real concern. It's a violation of people's basic human rights, especially when you're withholding medication or food or supplies, which we've heard has happened.
But beyond conditions at the waterfront facility, Harder says his biggest concern is what's coming from Washington.
I'm incredibly concerned, mostly because of the policies that are available. A lot of the questions we asked got those non-answers. The fact that people are getting picked up when they think they're coming in for an interview, which we've seen happen time and time again. The fact that we've seen U.S. citizens arrested in San Joaquin County and across the country is absolutely unacceptable.
The questions are, at least for me, is are minors being detained? How many citizens are being detained? Or non-citizens? How many have criminal backgrounds or not? That's all information that I think the public deserves to know.
Some of the reasons Stockton Councilmember Mario Enriquez also wants a visit. The office in his district for months has been the site of protests.
So as of yet, I haven't heard back. I've sent numerous letters via postage stamp, mail, and also email. But I will continue to press on until I get access.
How are you feeling after today's visit, and what comes next?
Yeah, I'm going to tell my colleagues in Congress that we need to fight, and we need to make sure that this moment changes what ICE is doing across the country. The best way to do that is to use this funding bill as a vehicle for those changes. You know, I'm just really frustrated.
In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
Gabriel, thank you. We're told Harder and 3 of his staff members were the only ones allowed inside the center. They tell us during their visit today, they didn't see any detainees.
In Minnesota tonight, after days of protests, President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, now says a drawdown of the 3,000 federal agents currently in Minneapolis is possible if local leaders agree to cooperate with federal immigration operations. The change in direction comes amid heavy criticism of their operations. Homan stressed that targeted enforcement operations will continue and that they'll be focusing on criminals who are in the U.S. illegally. You can watch the latest developments on the Minneapolis ICE incidents by downloading the free ABC10 app right here as we speak.
Tonight, a major update on the race for governor. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan has officially entered the race.
Yeah, he's the 9th Democrat to run alongside 2 Republicans and 1 Green Party candidate. ABC10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Ha is here now with more. Jenny.
Mahan's candidacy had been rumored for months, but the big question is, what impact will he have on a crowded candidate field still without a clear frontrunner?
Promise to end unsheltered homelessness, make our communities safer, and tackle the housing crisis that's keeping the American dream out of reach for too many Californians.
Those are the promises he made running for mayor of San Jose and are the promises he'll continue delivering on as governor of California, says 43-year-old Democratic candidate Matt Mahan.
Cities are where problems show up first, and they're where solutions get tested. But too often, the state makes promises without giving local leaders the tools, flexibility, or accountability needed to actually deliver results. That's why I'm running.
Mahan says he stands out from other candidates because he's led a big city and knows firsthand the need for a state partner. San Jose is the 3rd largest city in California.
What are kind of the top things that they should keep in mind about this candidate?
That he is probably to the right of most of the Democrats who are running, and they are running to the left.
Mahan is a moderate Democrat and vocal critic of the Democratic approach to issues, especially homelessness and public safety. He supported the voter-passed Proposition 36, the increase in penalties for repeat offenders in drug and theft crimes, for which Newsom and most Democrats did not back.
Is to intervene, pull them out of that situation, even if in the short run, for a short period of time, it's against their will, get them to detox and provide them with life-saving treatment so that they can make better decisions.
The governor hopeful also has often been at odds with Newsom over his standing up against Trump, writing, quote, "The way we win the fight for a better California is by solving problems in the real world, not by stooping to Donald Trump's level online."
He'll still take on Trump, but he thinks they're obsessed with that at the expense of paying closer attention to the needs in California.
On Newsom's legacy, Mahan says the job of the next governor is to follow through on Newsom's promises, like on mental health and homelessness resources, as well as streamlining housing construction.
Building on many of the initiatives the governor's championed, but I will never be quiet when I disagree on a policy point with anyone.
Political insiders say they're watching to see how Mahan's Bay Area ties to the Silicon Valley play out in fundraising, as he did jump into the race later than did his Democratic opponents. Chris, Laura.
All right, Jenny Ha, thank you. Still ahead, the dangerous cold gripping much of the country isn't letting up just yet. How much colder it could get in the coming days.
A foggy start to our Friday, but tracking this major player coming in off the west, we'll see what that does to the weekend forecast.
For much of the country, the severe winter weather isn't over just yet. With millions of people in the U.S. already shivering and struggling amid the extended cold air outbreak, experts say it's likely to get more brutal in the coming days. The eastern half of the country is set to get hit with a new push of bitter air, making temperatures plunge even further through Monday. Hundreds of daily cold temperature records could be broken as far south as Florida. Weekend temperatures could drop more than 30 degrees below normal in some areas, especially in the east. Meanwhile, all eyes are also on the south, which is still coping with massive power outages from the last dose of icy weather.
Well, the fog is the concern here in the valley. You may have been one of the drivers who had to face this foggy commute just this morning. It was especially dense in Elk Grove until it cleared out closer to downtown Sacramento. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods to figure out how things are shaping up for tomorrow, Friday.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, we do love Friday.
Right.
The fog, not so much, but at least it has been clearing out later on in the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's even tough, as you could see from that video, to see pedestrians, people that are walking up and down on the sidewalk. So take it easy because we're in a repeat pattern here. That's the first thing that we're going to be tracking, lingering fog. Second up on the list, our drought update. And third is our snow situation. We get our second snow survey of the year hitting us tomorrow. We'll have an update on that heading into our Friday. Here's a look at our dense fog advisory. It's in effect until noon tomorrow. Limited visibility and difficult travel once again. What I want to point out, though, is that it forms once again very close to sunrise, meaning it's going to be really close to the surface level, and then it clears out for the afternoon. Now, that's just our visibility. We're still going to be left with cloud cover, but not much in the rain bucket. Even with that, you know, we've had this dry stretch here in January. The rain that we had on Tuesday night into early Wednesday was just a drop in the bucket, but we're holding steady. No representation on the drought monitor once again for the third week going. Last time we saw a situation like that was in early 2000. Our departure from normal for our precipitation, most of the state holding on to those big gains that we had late December, early January. One place that's dropped below average is Eureka, and then over towards the southeast corner as well, towards the desert areas. But what really matters is what does the water storage look like? You know, if you've lived in California long enough, it's not just about sheer precipitation numbers or that snowpack. It's a combination of so many things, including our water storage. And this orange line right here represents reservoirs plus snowpack. We're hovering right about average, just dipped down below that slightly. Satellite and radar, lots of cloud cover off the coast here. We're going to keep it dry, though, into our forecast for tonight. Areas of fog forming. We're at 60 right now through the valley. Tahoe right now at 41. Our highs today reaching the lower 60s, mid 60s in some places for the foothills, and close to 50 up top for the Sierra. But it's going to be rinse and repeat. High pressure after high pressure. One departs, another one arrives. So it's just this pattern across the west right now, which keeps our storm track well to the north of us. So everything coming in off the Pacific, and there's a lot, just bypasses us. Highs are going to be close to 50 to 55 for the Tahoe Basin tomorrow, with 60s to almost 70 for some foothill locations. 60s and 50s across the coast, and we see those 50s as well throughout much of the valley. Morning lows are in the 40s with areas of fog, and then a mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon. We're going to keep it dry for our 5-day forecast, so if you're headed up to do any skiing and snowboarding, get the sunglasses ready. Highs are going to stay in the 50s over the weekend, forecast to right around 60. The deal with next week is that ridge builds in even stronger, so that's going to get us highs in the mid 60s next week. We'll still track the opportunity of fog. The other thing that we're going to be looking at is air quality, because once we see very little airflow and some of these temperatures and people using their fireplaces and wood stoves, our air tends to get a little gunky. So we'll be watching that.
It is a little rough this time of year for that.
Right.
Okay, Monica, thank you. Well, coming up next at 5:30, they were kids expecting to witness history. Instead, they watched tragedy unfold, where the shuttle kids are today.
And later, a local World War II veteran turns 100. The special tribute celebrating his service and sacrifice. Hard to believe, but this week marks 40 years since the space shuttle Challenger exploded. Many people remember a sense of grief for the 7 astronauts who died.
Yeah, others remember being much closer. They include reporter Gary Shapiro, photographer Manny Sotelo, and students who were at Cape Canaveral that day. Shapiro has more on the experience 4 decades later.
Look at learning from history.
Memories. Memories of retired teacher Bill Denler and others. Pictures of history. Newspaper clippings, an old magazine cover. An official NASA crew photograph of 7 very brave people, including one, Krista McCullough, who was to become the first teacher in space. All lost in an instant. Memories of a young reporter and photographer who were expecting to cover a much different story that day.
I'm Gary Shapiro at Cape Canaveral.
We were there to do a happy story on 12 elementary school students and teachers from Boulder County
T-10.
who had won a contest to attend a shuttle launch.
Oh my God!
To witness history.
And liftoff.
Little did they know how true that would be.
Engines throttling up, 3 engines now at 104%.
Challenger, go with throttle up.
Challenger, go with throttle up.
Oh my God, look at that! Oh my gosh!
The kids who watched Challenger explode that day are in their 50s now. Many have kids of their own. I recently caught up with 3 of them on Zoom to talk about being a kid who had to grow up fast. John Weller is a critically acclaimed photographer and filmmaker now.
And, you know, somebody said, I can't remember exactly who, said that they're all dead. And, you know, I was in 6th grade, and that didn't really connect for me emotionally until we got back out of that area.
Like John, that it changed the course of my life. I think in my engineering career, I found myself kind of gravitating towards working on safety-related systems.
And Bobby Winterroud, who became an engineer for Lockheed Martin, was the only girl on the trip back in 1986. She says going through such a traumatic experience together created a bond that has lasted all these years.
Part of you, and we are always going to be the shuttle kids. Like, it's not a, it's not a negative. It's what we've turned it into.
Felt like I was losing people, that I actually knew, not just figures in the news.
I also recently visited on Zoom with Dr. Alan Stern, a planetary scientist from Boulder, who as a young CU graduate was leading an experiment to study Halley's Comet. A satellite designed at CU called Spartan Halley was on board the shuttle. It was also lost that day. Stern says as horrible as the Challenger explosion was, it taught us invaluable lessons about life, the dangers of space exploration, and how to make it safer.
But they certainly did not die in vain. And the Challenger was kind of a crucible that took us to this much better space future that we have today.
We're go for a main engine start.
The shuttle kids got to go back to Cape Canaveral 2 years after the tragedy.
3, 2.
When NASA kicked off its Return to Space program with the launch of the shuttle Discovery. Again, we went with them.
Going back, I can't even describe how much it meant, because it did bring everything full circle, and it did give us that happy ending we didn't get the first time around.
Finally, happy memories.
Quite an emotional story. 40 years later, we never forget those astronauts who lost their lives on that tragic launch. And thank you to the shuttle kids for sharing their stories, too. We don't want to forget them. And really just fascinating to hear them express that bonding that they remember all these decades later, and how they've grown and learned from that historical experience.
Yeah, it just gives you chills to be able to kind of reflect on that. Monica, as a matter of fact, was just saying she recalls the very same type of thing she was watching at home, she says, with her family. And she asked, is that supposed to happen, Mom? And she says they just kind of turned off the television because they knew this was a very difficult moment. Okay. Well, still ahead, a century of life, service, and sacrifice. How one local veteran is being celebrated by his community. Well, family and friends in Elk Grove came out today to help honor a 100-year-old Navy veteran. U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer Donald Russell operated a water landing vehicle during World War II. He was honored today at the Ivy Park Senior Living Community. Certificates were also awarded to all veteran residents. Historic memorabilia was on display, as well as personal items that tell the story of each person's military journey.
People giving their lives. The greatest country in the world, right here.
That's right, Donald.
We're lucky. All of us are lucky. Even when we have bad times, we're still lucky.
And lucky because of you and your service, sir. We thank you for your service. 100 years old.
Yes, we are so thankful for him and our other veterans. He is part of truly the greatest generation. We owe a lot to him and the other folks of that generation and our veterans.
Love how strong he was, too, huh? That voice, nice and strong. You could tell he wasn't nothing to play with, I bet, at his,
Oh, yes. Probably very tough and very funny and lovable, too, I suspect. Thanks so much for joining us. Watch us anytime, any day on the ABC10 app.